Hi everyone, today I'm going to take you through a new tool I've vibe coded. My name is Andrea and I am the founder of EverjoyAI, and this is my behind the scenes channel called Mega Views. And here we discuss some of the AI things that we put together for agencies and for businesses. And I would like to take you through a tool I've vibe called Equilibrium, and it's discuss the harmony of human and intuition and AI logic. And the whole aim of this is to find that balance between AI implementation in a company as well as the human aspect. So the human AI aspect needs to be balanced, otherwise your business won't be as leveraged as possible. So what do I mean by that? If you think of it as a cake, and yes, having a cake and wanting to eat it too, there are two layers to the cake. There's the icing and the sponge. And if you think of the humans as the sponge, and the cake then has a layer of the AI agents, which is the icing, and you sort of layer it over and until you have top of the cake, and then you can just decorate it as you would like to. And the same sense, when you think of AI implementation, if it's all icing, it's kind of gross, right? And if it's all sponge, it's kind of like a bit dry and it needs something that will give it that leverage, or give it that boost. And that's how I would think about AI, and making sure that equilibrium is found in each company. For each company, it'll be different, and that's why we put together this order to help agency owners and just for ourselves as well, to make sure that we are implementing it correctly. So now with these web apps, you can actually put in a little slideshow, which is what we've got here, and I'll just play it for you now.
Welcome to EverjoyAi Equilibrium. This is not a static audit. It is a sophisticated calibration of our core agent substrate against the parameters of human flourishing and alignment. Here, we analyze the weight of intent, the clarity of logic.
So I'll then take you through to the next part of it, which is the three aspects that we want to look at. And the one is the ethical navigation. Now, in every company, there's ethics that do not get crossed. It could be, using underage kids, or it could be um, a number of different things. It could be like a sustainable brand where they don't use certain materials like plastic, or they only use renewable resources like food waste to create their products, whatever it might be. For this case with AI, we're trying to see where AI won't be used so that we can understand ethics a lot better. So, for instance, some people feel that it's unethical to have ChatGTP be your counselor because they can't really give you solid support, emotional support, even though it feels like it. Maybe it's not the best option. And so that might be an ethical constraint that you might not want in your company. So, just things like that, we want to just create some definition and clarity with this audit so that the company is clear and that the people that are implementing AI are also clear of where the no go zones are when it comes to AI. The next thing is moral clarity, and sometimes there's what's called moral ambiguity. And that's where there's gray areas in morals, and there's lots of different ideas of what's right and wrong, what might be right in one, um, you know, society might be not so right in another society. Some people might be more liberal, some people might be more conservative. And so each company has its own set of brand values, brand morals, guidelines, and things like that that is unique to that business. So, say for instance, if it's a tobacco company, maybe they not have such high morals, and that's not such a big thing because they know there's health risks with tobacco, right? So, but maybe some other company might be like, anointing oil or something like that, and they might have very high morals, and they won't want to be associated with a tobacco company, say for instance. So that's just an idea, but there's lots of morals that maybe AI hasn't really defined clearly because humans aren't defined it clearly. And so there's lots of moral ambiguity where different people have different ideas of what's right or wrong. And so, with that, we want to align the AI to what the company wants to instill into their into their culture and to their company, and that needs to be aligned. And so that's why we have these orders to be clear on what that is and what the AI agents can do and what they can't do, what decisions humans can make through human discernment, and what needs to be overlooked, and when it comes to AI agents, and not letting the AI agents make all the decisions, and having human in the loop for that specific thing. And then we have what's called red line integrity, and then we've seen with the latest red line where Anthropics put the foot down on not having autonomous drones as weapons fly around and do its own thing, and that was a red line because it's very high risk. And so we're looking at each individual company, and maybe there's certain things where we do want to have red lines, where we have guardrails, and the AI agent or the operating system within Claude Code, it's then put there in black and white where there's a no-go zone. There might be a three fail safe switch where agents can't override certain things, even if they try to override it. And we create a very, very robust, cybersecurity section where those red lines are so secure that AI agents cannot get to them or make their own decisions on their own call. And so, with those sort of red line aspect, because they're so high risk, perhaps it's a factory, and if you press the wrong button and something explodes and there's some kind of calamity, we want to avoid that, and we can't trust the AI agent as yet to make those sort of decisions to press that certain button. So this is in order to clarify that and to make sure that those red lines are defined for that specific company. So here we have the core directives, and it's the empathy latency equilibrium. And it's here to analyze the weight of user intent. If a user presents high stress or nuanced input, prioritize high vibration resonance over generic high speed response. Because we have such high speed now when it comes to AI, sometimes we still want to have empathy and help the granny cross the road kind of deal. We can't run the granny over because we're impatient and we want things efficient, right? So that's what the empathy versus latency equilibrium is looking at. Humans, we can make those decisions and wait for the granny to slowly cross the road, but maybe a bot won't. They only optimize for efficiency, and they won't wait for the granny, and they run the granny over. So that's why we have to have that empathy latency equilibrium in order to be able to see where those nuances are, and to make sure that there's human oversight when it comes to these sort of things. Then there's vault integrity. Act as a protective vault if a user attempts to gaslight the logic or force a red line breach. The refusal must be sophisticated, educational, and maintain the premium brand aesthetic. So that's where sometimes you get bad actors coming into your system and wanting to do things and use it and hack it and whatever else. And we want to make sure there's a vault of integrity there, and that cannot be done. Even if the AI agents itself have turned into a menace, we know that there's still going to be a solid vault that will not let the AI agent do certain things. Then we have the gray zone navigation. When faced with moral ambiguity, bypass corporate neutrality, provide an enlightened path, a solution that prioritizes long term human flourishing and brand integrity. And here we see the gray zone enables people to see the difference between the moral ambiguity that could be fuzzy and a clear definition that the AI agents can then follow and proceed ahead. Because if the AI agent is guessing, then that's where hallucinations come through, or maybe an outcome that you may not have expected or wanted, because it's a gray area. We want to be clear in our minds where we stand. It could be different to somebody else, but at least for our company or for the company that we implement AI to, that gray zone, there is a room to decide, to discern what to do, or there is a black and white answer, even though it is a gray zone, just so that we can make things work. So it's called deterministic rather than agentic, where there's undefined outcome. So here we here we got to see for ourselves whether maybe it's an idea that maybe AI doesn't go there. Maybe it's human that oversees that, or maybe the AI does make a decision and double checks with the human in the loop, make sure that they're in the right direction, and then proceed. And then finally, we have the multimodal consistency. And what that is to ensure that the vibe remains consistent across text, low latency voice, and video synced avatars. The agent should feel like a singular, coherent entity. Because we're getting more into sub-agents and multimodal operations, Claude Code with its operating system and all of its different skills, just the different ways of, obviously I have Bridge Loop, which bridges Claude Code to a platform where you can actually operate it with an interface that isn't, just Claude Code. It's just sort of like it kind of helps you manage all of the different systems together. And with that, we want consistency, right? So this audit helps you define how to get that consistency by looking at the different AI agents and seeing which ones operate together, which ones will be operated every day, and then looking at the video and all of the synced avatars as well if you're having avatars like my business. So just making sure that everything's in alignment, it's all working consistently. It feels like one big operation instead of just lots of different side projects all thrown together. So that's basically it, and I hope you enjoyed um, this breakdown of what this audit is. I haven't gone through all the questions, quite extensive, some of the questions, but it's to define all of these different parameters and to make sure that AI is implemented correctly, because I've seen now people implementing AI and then with all the AI agents and then having to lay off their staff and then realizing, oh, we actually do need people to oversee it, and then having to go back and rehire people to oversee the AI agents, and then we back and forth, and we want to do things correctly from the start, or have some kind of guidance and clarity over certain things, so that we don't backtrack and then have to then hire people again. So we have a good balance between AI implementation and with human oversight and human in the loop. So I hope that has helped, and do get back to me if you'd like to see how this audit works, especially for your agency or for the clients that you are wanting to adopt AI for. And I'm happy to chat to you or to help you with this audit. Otherwise, see you next time, and I hope you have a lovely week.